capital letters.
Hi everyone, this is my first YouTube channel ever. This video is meant to be an introduction to me, my life, my chronic illnesses, by the title. Why do I keep saying Well, I'm not sure how to do YouTube. I've never filmed myself talking unless it was on Snapchat. So this is gonna take a couple tries, and by the time I post this, I probably would have said what you saw 10 plus times before getting it right. Okay, so let's get started. My name is Courtney. I'm 20 years old. I got sick when I was 15, so I've been sick for 5 years now. I keep saying I have a list of autoimmune disorders and, as you would say, invisible illnesses. They're called invisible illnesses because you look at me right now and I look totally healthy. Well, I hope I do, but I'm not. My insides are damaged. I have so many problems going on that you wouldn't know of unless you physically saw me faint or saw me have a seizure or saw me fall over in public, which is why it's called invisible. The thing with invisible illnesses, you do get a lot of judgment, as you do with anything, but people look at people like me and they're just like, why are you parking in the handicap spot? Why are you using a wheelchair? Why do you have those crutches and there's no cast on your leg? That's just how it is, and with anything, you get negativity. I made a chronic Instagram, which is why I'm making this YouTube video now, because so many people have suggested to me that vlogs would be such a cool idea. So this is my first, and hopefully not last, video for YouTube. I got sick in 10th grade. My health has gotten worse since I've gotten older. I personally don't take pharmaceuticals. They've had adverse reactions to my body, so what people usually take them for, they usually get help, and mine would do the complete opposite. Like, if I took certain depression medications, instead of making me feel less depressed, they'd make me feel more depressed and suicidal, and no one wants to feel that way. So basically, I am on the homeopathic route. I do IV therapy. I eat very clean. I don't eat dairy, sugars, artificials, gluten, corn, soy, colors, you get the deal. I told my PCP, primary care physician, the main doctor you go to if you have the flu or if you need a checkup, you know, and he just didn't listen. I had so many problems going on. My head was banging all the time. I used to get straight A's in school, and all of a sudden I wasn't understanding anything, and I went to having A's and B's to C's and D's, which was super disappointing because I sit in the front of the class because of my lack of focus in the first place, and then I go to tutoring every week. Nothing was helping me. So then I got even more mad because I'm putting all this time into my education, but my grades aren't showing it. I used to play varsity tennis. I couldn't stand long. I couldn't take the sport seriously. I forget how to play, and I had been playing for a few years at that time. It was just super difficult, and when I was trying to tell my doctor, like, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, it's weird, something's wrong with my body, I don't know what it is. He's not educated. Well, he obviously is not educated in invisible illnesses or autoimmune disorders or anything of that fact. So he labeled me as conversion disorder. After I was labeled as conversion disorder, and all these high up professionals were making me feel like I was the crazy one, I got pretty depressed, like anyone would. My body's going crazy and no one's listening to me, and I went into this rut. And this was when I was more into 11th grade. I got sick at the end of 10th grade. I was sent to the psychiatric unit at Children's Hospital. I was an outpatient. I didn't have to stay 24 hours a day. I went and it was kind of like school, so I'd have to stay for, I think it was like 6 hours. So like 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was basically substituted for school, but school to help your mind get better instead of school about math. I was there for 3 weeks. I eventually went back there because when I came back from it, still no one was listening to me. My parents were telling the doctors, I was telling the doctors, like, something is wrong and we need an answer. I'd go to the emergency room, they'd pass off all my problems as migraines or just a cold or like dehydration. Just everything was working against us. I had so much medication in me that it was just making my body go haywire. Doctors were basically trying to say that my physical problems were caused by my mental problems, but it's the other way around. My mental problems are caused by my physical. I was so depressed because my body was just out of whack. No one was listening. On to some of the illnesses I have. You may know some of them, you may not. Either way, I'm here to educate you. Before I say anything about what anything is, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a teacher. I can't diagnose people, and I do have brain fog, so my words probably aren't gonna come out very structured, if that makes sense. So if I say anything wrong, I'm sorry, bear with me. One of the illnesses I have is called dysautonomia. So I have POTS, and it's called Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. Dysautonomia is an umbrella term, and there's a couple different illnesses, but the one I have underneath it is specifically called POTS. With POTS, you get lightheaded very easily. Me, every time I stand. I can't stand for a long time. I can't shower. I usually have to take baths. It causes your heart rate to be very high, an uncomfortable high, like you just got done with a workout high, but all you're really doing is sitting up in bed. I keep forgetting what I'm saying. So, with the lightheadedness, for normal people, when you get up from the couch or your bed too fast and you just feel it, and your vision goes black and you're just dizzy, you're lightheaded, you know you got up too fast. With POTS, it's like that almost every single time. Speaking for myself, I don't know how everyone else with POTS deals with it. There's not a cure, unfortunately, along with a lot of the other illnesses I'm about to list to you. The 3 treatments for POTS: water intake, salt intake, and exercise. The hard thing about exercise is that with POTS, you're usually very fatigued and have exercise intolerance because you are so fatigued. The main thing that will help you, you're way too tired to do. And for people who don't know what fatigue is, it's like an overtiredness that can't be cured by sleep. You can't, you always feel so exhausted, and by doing the simplest things, and your energy is never restored. Something that might help you realize the whole energy thing a little bit more, if you're not a spoonie, is the spoon theory. I'll put the link down below. It's basically this awesome story, and it explains to you how chronically ill or people with invisible illnesses use their precious energy on the smallest activities, and it just helps you understand a bit more. So if you have someone like a grandma with lupus or a friend with POTS, or a mom with cancer, you should totally read this, and it really helps you understand a lot more about people who are sick and people who have low energy. It's amazing. Another illness I have is called mast cell activation syndrome, or MCIS for short. I have to read off my phone because I do have brain fog, so bear with me. Mast cells are essentially the cells responsible for causing allergic reactions in your body. They release histamine and other mediators that are related to inflammation and reactions. In my body, for whatever reason, these cells are triggered by the most minimal and uncommon of triggers. We've so far discovered that not only am I triggered by food and medications, but by extreme temperatures, temperature changes, emotions like stress, anxiety, anger, scents, food-related or perfume and cologne related, right down to the clothing I wear and the toothpaste I use. And recently, over the past couple of months, my own tears. Yes, my own tears. I know that's hard to believe because it is a bodily function coming out of my own face and I'm allergic to it. I stay positive a lot of the time, and don't get me wrong, I'm not the most positive person in the world. I'm not smiling all the time, and I'm not happy to have everything going on with me, but I've came to the realization that this is my life, might as well make the best of it, and that's why I made an Instagram, to educate others, and it gives me something to do with my time. Because since my illnesses are so debilitating, I'm unable to work or go to college. So anyways, with mast cell, causes me to be allergic quite a lot compared to normal people. When you have mast cell, you have a bigger chance of going into an anaphylactic attack. And anaphylaxis is basically a fatal allergic reaction that involves EpiPens, emergency rooms, doctors, medicines, just crazy stuff because it's a crazy situation. Luckily for me, I have not had an anaphylactic reaction, but I do carry EpiPens with me everywhere I go. I have one right here. I have 2 in my backpack at all times. On to cataplexy. Cataplexy is probably the funniest illness that I have, and by funny, I mean what it makes me do is funny to people watching. It's temporary muscle paralysis brought on by strong emotions. For me, the strong emotion is laughter. If I'm laughing and standing, I will literally drop to the ground because my knees give out. Literally, they give out. Which causes me to laugh more because I look like an idiot in public. And it's just a fun time. And if I'm sitting and laughing, my arms usually go out of control or my neck swings back. I've hit a brick wall with my head before. I've fallen onto concrete on my knees. I've gotten plenty of bruises from cataplexy. It's not funny that I have it, but I hope you understand why it's funny. Yeah, so I also have celiac disease. Besides all my other allergies to most foods, celiac is more serious. Sensitivity to gluten, and if you don't know what gluten is, it's in wheat, barley, and rye. So like spaghetti noodles have gluten, cake batter, gluten, breads, pastries, doughs, pretty much anything good has gluten in it. If you even ingest a little bit of gluten, it can totally damage your small intestine, which is obviously a problem that you do not want to deal with. So, my diet is super clean. I don't eat any gluten. Celiacs all have a different form of severity. So, if they actually do eat gluten, different people have different reactions. You get the point. Just like with anything, no one reacts the same. Everybody is different. I have sensory processing disorder, which, if you analyze the name, is basically the name. I have trouble processing my senses compared to a normal person's. Like, processing the senses is 10 times more extreme. Noises come out way louder than you're hearing them. I hear every little sound, like I could hear a mouse move through a house. That's how good my sound is. And it's not good for when I'm in places like high school where people love to slam lockers. Just noise in general is so hard to take in. We'll get into sensory processing further on a different video because it's a lot to talk about, but basically all my senses are overloaded, and it's just really hard to process, aka the name, sensory processing disorder. I have many other disorders. If you want to check out my Instagram, my first post has every disorder I have along with a small description. My brain's just too jumbled that I can't do a video about every single thing I have, or it would be 3 hours long. I hope I was able to explain this enough for people to understand, because I know it is complex and super difficult to understand, especially because I'm talking to you as if I'm a normal human being with 0 problems. This body is whack. Remember, this is my first video. I do have brain fog, and I am currently in a flare. If you look close, I don't know if it's focusing. My skin is peeling off like crazy. Thank God for makeup, because my skin's totally flushed too, and you would totally be able to see how much of a tomato I look like if I didn't have makeup. Thank you, Neutrogena. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but in case I am, I'll list out the diagnoses I have. I'm not going to do an explanation with them. I'll leave all the names of everything I have, so let me grab my phone. Okay, I got my memory tool. I have POTS, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome, fibromyalgia, chronic widespread pain, CFS and ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, and myalgic encephalomyelitis. It's a really long word. I'll spell it out in the video. Sensory processing disorder, cataplexy, memory impairments, and brain fog. CRPS, chronic regional pain syndrome, adrenal fatigue. I'll do a short summary on that, but adrenal fatigue is super important because it leaves you exhausted. No, when the adrenal glands are exhausted and unable to produce adequate quantities of hormones. Hormones affect many processes in your body, including mood, so too much or too little of a certain hormone can be a problem, and which causes moody girls like me sometimes. I'm gonna be honest. Small fiber neuropathy. This one's super difficult because on top of chronic pain and fibromyalgia, which are both pain-based illnesses, if you would say, neuropathy leaves my hands numb and my feet numb. When I do makeup, when I touch little buttons like on this camera, it just leaves them aching like someone smashed it with a hammer just from putting on eyeshadow or braiding my hair. Obviously, it's not a must to do eyeshadow, but I am 20 and I am a girl and I do like feeling pretty. So there are certain battles I choose. Yeah, I hope that made sense. Celiac disease. I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so HEDS. It's a connective tissue disorder. And so much more, but they're small and not very relevant to make into a 5-hour video. So, yeah, I'm making this YouTube to spread awareness, spread positivity, and meet a whole bunch of cool people. So, thank you so much for watching my video, and if you like it, please like and subscribe down below or up top. I don't know how YouTube works, so I don't know where the buttons are. Thank you so much to everyone who watched this video. It means the world to me. I know it wasn't the best, but I tried. So, I'm probably gonna go to sleep. Bye, guys.
We about to go up, baby, up we go.